Welcome to Acast, the home of podcasting. Over the past 7 years, we've built the house of Acast into a home for creators, empowering diverse and creative voices from around the world, earning over 350 million listens a month. We've got big plans to expand our reach. How do we do that? Some homes have an open door policy. We have an open ear policy. We're true pioneers and champions of the open podcast ecosystem, helping content creators share their work with listeners across every podcast app and player there is. With this philosophy, we've reached massive global scale. Right now, Acast is home to 40,000 podcasts with 350 million plus listens per month, and we're growing all the time. We are headquarters to the most popular shows and the biggest names in global publishing. Check out who lives at Acast.
Hey everyone, I'm Anna Faris, and I have this podcast fittingly titled Anna Faris is Unqualified. This year, I moved the podcast to its new home at Acast. Acast believes in making podcasts accessible to audiences on every platform, giving creators the opportunity to share our stories with one another, no matter who or where we are. Check out who else shares their stories through Acast.
So in 2005, I created the Sex with Emily podcast to help everyone to lead powerful, pleasurable lives by making sex talks more accessible and fun. Every week, I share my own sex tips and advice, answering all of your burning questions. Plus, I talk to leading experts and celebrities to demystify some of the questions we all have about sex. I love helping you figure out what works for you without shame or judgment.
I've been recording Sex with Emily for 17 years, and I plan to keep doing it for the next 17,000 years. Acast's proven success in the global marketplace makes them up to be the perfect partner for Sex with Emily to achieve its mission of expanding reach to effectively liberate the conversation around sex worldwide. Additionally, what Acast provides is an expert team of what I like to call matchmakers who help pair my podcast with brands and products with similar values, creating a mutually beneficial relationship. I talk a lot about relationships, and a very important relationship that I don't lightly talk about is brand partnerships. This is one of the reasons that 80% of my audience has said they've bought or would buy one of the products I recommended. One tip that's made me so successful in brand partnerships is that I truly believe that your ads cannot sound like anyone else could have done it. Acast really specializes in perfecting these partnerships. They look at what will be the best in terms of creativity, in terms of suitability, and in terms of curation. It's great for creators, great for listeners, and great for advertisers.
My name is John Kasich. I'm the former governor of Ohio.
And I'm Jordan Klepper. I'm a comedian. I never ran for president. I do know who Governor Kasich is. I think we both received the same amount of electoral delegates the last election.
I didn't know you got a single electoral vote for president.
Did you get one?
Yes.
You did get one?
We have a new podcast together called Kasich and Klepper from Acast and Treefort Media. You know, a lot of people are going to think, oh, well, this is going to be about politics. No, it's not. It's going to be about life.
We're not just the R or the D next to our names.
We have so much more in common than we have that divides us.
We come from different places, but like any good meal, you need a little bit of salt and you need a little bit of pepper. But if you're an advertiser, that's okay. People got to buy salt. They got to buy pepper. And we're giving you both of those.
What I've found in doing this is that it expands you. I get to learn about people I really didn't know much about. And what has been exciting is to listen to them.
We have wonderful conversations with guests who are from the music world, from the political spectrum. We have poets, we have rock stars. We cover it all because I think our curiosities know no bounds. I'd like to think if you're tuning into our podcast, it's like going to a Thanksgiving dinner with your family, only we get to invite Stevie Van Zandt and Chris Bosch. Our guest list keeps growing and growing with people from the worlds of entertainment and from politics, and we're going to get into some important conversations with them.
Everybody who's been on has said, God, it was one of our favorite exchanges. And that opens the door for all kinds of exciting people. And even if Jordan and I and the guests may disagree, at the end of it, we're not being personal, we're not attacking. It's easy to do that. I think what's harder to do is to have a consistency where people can find out that they can learn, they can be entertained, they can be educated, and they can come back.
Hey folks, my name is Freddie Wong. Some people may know me as Freddie. Other people, though, thousands of other people know me as Glenn Close, not the Academy Award-winning actress. Instead, a fictional rock and roll dad who, along with other dads, got lost in a fantasy world on the way to our son's soccer game, as well as Taylor Swift, not the pop star. These are characters that I play on an improv comedy show called Dungeons and Daddies. Dungeons and Daddies is an improv comedy podcast where we play Dungeons and Dragons to tell a story. In our first season, we tell the story of 4 dads flung into a land of high fantasy and magic in the quest to rescue their lost sons. In our new second season, which just started this year, we play the grandchildren of those original dads who had to fix all the things that we screwed up in the world in season 1. Dungeons and Daddies is a fast-growing podcast. We're setting new listenership records with every episode that we put out. We're also a bit of a unique podcast in that we combine the broad appeal of improvised comedy with the world of tabletop roleplay. Because of that, I think we're ranked as one of the top improvised comedy podcasts on Apple. We have a very deep relationship with our audience because a lot of the character names, item names, places that we even visit in the world are inspired by suggestions from the audience. It's very similar to how improv shows will, take suggestions from the crowd. And that podcast community is really something special because I've had the very strange and unique experience of when conventions started up again, our fans tweeting us pictures of them and their friends dressing up as characters from our audio-only podcast to go to these conventions. And they were getting recognized. I'm a big fan of Acast because they've empowered our podcast to nurture and grow and deepen those relationships that we've had with our audience across all listening platforms. Acast also connects us with our advertisers, and it creates organic opportunities for brands to plug into our podcast and tell their stories in unique and innovative ways. Dungeons and Daddies has a little bit of something for everyone. So, if you're looking to do something in the tabletop gaming space, in gaming in general, parenting, Father's Day is coming up, Taylor Swift fans, although I think everyone's a Taylor Swift fan, let's be honest. Any of this content and more can be seamlessly integrated into our show. So we are so excited to be an Acast partner and work with brands interested in giving listeners something special, something unique, and something funny.
So where do your ideas come from?
Are you asking me?
Yeah. You guys called me and were like, let's start a podcast company. And I said, sure. Okay.
Yeah.
That's exactly what happened.
We were trying to get our podcast, the big ones, on a network. And in doing that, we realized there really weren't that many networks that had our same vibe. So we thought, wait a minute.
Let's make our own. Can't be that hard, is it?
Bringing you trusted, comprehensive coverage of elections, providing context and insight with primetime specials. The PBS NewsHour and PBS News Weekend, your place for breaking news, analysis, context, and insights into stories that matter.
That's right. I'm Grandmaster Caz. The upcoming biography and pop culture series, Origins of Hip Hop, drops the mic on the true, untold origins of hip hop and all of hip-hop's true originators.
I'm gonna let y'all see what Busta Rhymes is made of.
It doesn't hold anything back. A&E has the access and expertise to tell these stories unlike anyone else. I'm excited to announce I'll be part of A&E's new Origins of Hip Hop podcast, where I'll dive even deeper into how it all began. Between all of A&E's huge upcoming biography and pop culture series, short form and podcasts, we got enough content to last a lifetime.
Did someone say lifetime? I'm Naomi.
And I'm Megan, and we're movie lovers and hosts of the I Love a Lifetime movie podcast.
If you love the drama,
the intensity,
and the sheer excitement of Lifetime movies as much as we do,
you'll be thrilled to know you can now find hundreds of your favorites on Lifetime and the Lifetime Movie Network.
You can stream them anywhere and anytime with Lifetime Movie Club. And of course, listen to our podcast.
And speaking of the podcast, if you have a favorite Lifetime movie you want us to dive into, we love suggestions.
Because we know when it comes to Lifetime movies, it's not just TV, it's a lifestyle.
From true crime to deep dives in historical events and engaging chat shows and hip hop, as Grandmaster Caz shared, there's an A&E Networks podcast for every listener.
We launched the Global News Podcast back in 2007, and a decade and a half later, it is still the most downloaded podcast from the BBC World Service. It gives you a global view of what's going on in the news. You'll hear stories that you might not get to find out about anywhere else. And it's not all just wars and disaster and catastrophe. We also cover stories that are funny or curious or unexpected. That's the Global News Podcast. All the news from around the world. Just search for the Global News Podcast.
Interested in buying real estate? Check out some innovative ways for your brand to advertise with Acast. Tell brilliant brand stories with Acast Creative.
Hi, I'm Shantae Howell, Director of Acast Creative in the Americas. Acast Creative is a pillar of the Acast marketplace, helping partners navigate the rapidly evolving podcast landscape through thoughtful brand integrations. Acast Creative works closely with our sales teams, our content teams, as well as our creators to offer new solutions that help tell brilliant stories through the lens of the brands that we work with. You can think of us as the creative matchmakers, the experts you can depend on to align your brand messaging with our podcasters' values. Today, I am joined by one of my favorite podcast hosts, Brick Devard-Ozaidenly, host of Acast's Naked Beauty podcast, to talk more about the art of integrating brand stories into podcasts.
Naked Beauty is all about unfiltered discussions with the women I admire about their approach to self-care and beauty, and the conversations get really deep. We're not only talking about what your favorite lipstick shade is, but we're talking about how did you come into your relationship with beauty? How did you learn about skincare? And I've been really proud that Naked Beauty has been named one of the top beauty podcasts by Women's Wear Daily. I've been nominated as Best Beauty Podcast from iHeartMedia, which was a huge honor, and also just mentioned in publications like Vogue and Self Magazine. So in addition to the really, really close-knit, we call it the Naked Beauty community, it's great to see those kind of industry accolades come through as well.
Can you talk to us a little bit about how you've lent that expertise to brands like Macy's and Ulta Beauty over the past year?
So in addition to being a podcaster, I've been a marketer my whole career. So I understand that with marketing, you want those key messages to come through, but you want it to come through in a voice that feels authentic. And I think that's why a lot of brands come to work with me, because they know that I'm going to translate what it is I love about their products in a way that the Naked Beauty community will understand and resonate with.
Yeah, absolutely. I really loved in that Ulta Beauty episode, actually, how you talked about how your natural hair care journey was your transition into being really thoughtful about the products that are going into your skincare journey as well. And so that episode was focused on skincare, but you were really kind of integrating your authentic story into that experience and what really inspires you to move into that direction.
I originally got into skincare through my hair. Cause and effect for a lot of Black women, you kind of have to learn how to deal with your natural hair again. I realized through this process that natural products were serving my hair better than what I could find at my local drugstore. So I started making hair masks, I started doing apple cider vinegar rinses, and I learned everything I could about which ingredient worked for my hair. I should be putting the same energy and intention behind my skincare. We have a lot of power in what we choose to buy, and I want you all to walk away from this episode understanding your power and understanding that you have a choice, and educate yourself along the way.
And I think that connection really gets to the core of Naked Beauty and the important conversations that you're having with your community about identity and creativity and so much more. And I think that came to life incredibly beautifully on a recent branded episode we did with Martell Blue Slipped. Can you talk a little bit about how some of those different values came to life in that conversation with Miss Janelle Monáe?
Absolutely. So of course, what a dream interview being able to speak to Janelle Monáe, who is just such an incredible artist and so thoughtful, and to get to talk to her about her relationship with beauty and self-care was really special. But really thinking about aligning themselves with this message around creativity and providing a platform for the next generation of creatives. So all of the brands that are able to identify podcasters that are passionate about the craft, passionate about what they do, and again, have those really passionate communities. I think that's just like, it all comes together to form the dream brand partnership.
Hey guys, this is Ellie Dimitrolagos, Head of Automation in the Americas. Acast Automated is the pillar of the Acast marketplace that uses programmatic technology to automate the media buying process while enabling scale, transparency, and real-time data. And all this so that advertisers can reach the right listeners in the right content and at the right time across the consumer journey. Acast Automated is the optimized way to buy media. It's a natural complement to how advertisers are looking to scale beyond host reads and sponsorships, which historically is how brands have bought podcasts. But as podcasting medium grew in popularity and new listeners and advertisers entered the space, our clients were looking for ways to scale their reach and make much more sense of the vast library of conversations and the influencers within our marketplace. It's from that desire and that need where Acast Automated was born. But before we move forward, let's take a bit of step back into our history. 9 years ago, Acast developed what's known as true dynamic ad insertion, the industry standard today for real-time ad serving and podcasting. 6 years ago, Acast launched the first ever global programmatic marketplace, which was built specifically for this unique medium. The last thing people want their technology is to be old or fragmented. Since our launch, the podcast industry has had access to a real-time buying process that's transparent, unfragmented, entirely independent, and this is all available on a global level. Fast forward to today, we continue to innovate in podcasting and for podcasting. So with our partners at OMD for SAP, we recently launched a campaign using various contextually based targeting solutions alongside SAP's first-party data. The goal here was to drive consideration and purchase intent of the business software solutions. The results were incredible. Specifically, we found that exposure to podcast campaign elicited double-digit gains, converting more respondents into potential consumers. To achieve this growth, SAP needed just one exposure, evidence of the power of podcasting and that the right content with the right creative plays a significant role in ROI. Significant growth was reported also against ages 18 to 34 and those over 45, proving that podcasting is in fact multi-generational. And we also saw a 46% increase in purchase intent, 43% lift in brand consideration, and 19% shift in aided brand awareness. I'm in fact so elated to announce that in partnership with the Trade Desk, for the first time in podcasting history, we have enabled addressability and attribution measurement directly through the Trade Desk DSP, giving media buyers the ability to target down to the household level and measure success independently with a united omnichannel view. This is huge news for the industry, and at Acast we remain steadfast in providing privacy-first targeting solutions that are transparent, measurable, and independent, supporting always an open and fair ecosystem for all. And so as you can see, Acast, along with our partners, have been at the forefront of innovation in podcasting, leading the way in programmatic activation, measurement, attribution, addressability, and all while preserving user privacy and brand safety. And with years of learning behind us, we're excited to be on this path with our partners and see what it is that comes up next.
This house just became smarter with the launch of conversational targeting. Conversational targeting introduces the ability for advertisers to target podcast conversations at the individual episode level. We use AI and machine learning to transcribe and process thousands of podcast episodes. Then we map them against keywords and IAB categories. Here's an example. Let's say you're a food home delivery service and you want to reach podcast listeners at the right moments. With conversational targeting, you can target individual episodes of podcasts where the hosts discuss what they're having for dinner, or their love of cooking, or anything else related to food. What makes this really powerful is that these shows might not have always been those that traditionally fall under the food category. We're helping advertisers recognize their opportunities at more granular levels, with more relevant targeting than ever before. With conversational targeting, your brand might appear on a sports podcast or a beauty one, or an interview show. As long as a relevant subject matter is addressed, you could find it. Ready to move your brand to Acast? We have the best brokers and the best real estate around to better meet your podcast buying needs. Our sales team of audio partnership matchmakers take pride in their work, building relationships between your brand and the content. Together, we will help you navigate through ads, sponsorships, and branded content opportunities in the Acast marketplace so that we can find the solution that best fits your product story. Our experienced teams are ready to support you in everything. From creating brilliant brand stories through custom creative concepts, purchasing ads programmatically, to guidance on which of our podcasts to partner with. Our podcasts span every genre, reaching audiences of every kind, and they're available through Acast. Contact us today. Acast, the home of podcasting.